Hello, New York Giants fans, and welcome to a new edition of the Valentine's Views podcast here on YouTube. Your New York Giants held their first of two joint practices this week against the New York Jets on Tuesday. Ed Valentine of Big Blue View here with some thoughts on what we saw and what we learned in today's workout held at the Jets Florham Park facility. So the first thing that we learned that we have to talk about is the absence of Malik Nabers from Tuesday's workout. Nabers has not practiced now for the Giants since last Wednesday, and there has to be a little bit of concern about Nabers. Of course, head coach Brian Daboll said he wasn't going to talk about injuries, wasn't going to confirm that this had anything to do with the toe injury that cost Nabers time in the spring. Nabers, of course, did not practice at all in the spring as the Giants tried to rehab that toe injury. So Daboll didn't clarify what the injury is, didn't clarify whether it has anything to do with the toe injury, but it is, of course, a little bit concerning that Nabers is once again missing practice time. Everybody was looking forward to seeing a one-on-one matchup between Nabers and Jets star cornerback Sauce Gardner, and of course, we didn't get to see that. So the Nabers situation, obviously something to monitor going forward. And the Andrew Thomas situation with the big star left tackle still on the physically unable to perform list as he tries to come back from the Lisfranc surgery that he had last year. And the longer this goes with Thomas not practicing, the longer this goes, the more concerning it has to be. We're now less than a month away from the start of the regular season, basically 3 weeks away. Thomas is still not practicing. He's still not off PUP. He still hasn't taken any reps, obviously hasn't taken any contact, and you begin to worry about his readiness for the beginning of the 2025 season. So that is a story that we'll be monitoring on a daily basis, on a day-to-day basis, trying to find out what we can, about Andrew Thomas and when he's going to be available for the Giants this upcoming season. Let's turn to some of what we saw on the field on Tuesday. We'll talk first about the Giants offense. And full disclosure here, I did not watch the Giants offense on Tuesday. Big Blue View's Nick Falato watched the offense while I watched defense. But the impression that I got from Nick and from others who watched every snap of the Giants on offense was that the offense struggled during Tuesday's workout. The portion of offense that I did see, the final period, was a red zone 11-on-11 period where they did everything on the same field. Giants offense versus Jets defense, Jets offense versus Giants defense. The offense picked it up, scored, I think, 3 or 4 touchdowns in a few series, 3 or 4 series of plays in the red zone. I think it was 3 series of plays, and looked pretty good, but overall not a great day for the offense. And look, I'm not going to flip out about a bad day for the offense. I'm not going to get overly concerned. There were a lot of good signs. A lot of good things happened on Saturday in the preseason game against the Buffalo Bills. So I'm not going to get overly concerned about a rough day for the Giants offense against a really good New York Jets defense. The one thing offensively that I think I'm concerned about, and if I read Brian Daboll, if I kind of read between the lines of some of the things that Daboll has said recently, I think Daboll is concerned about as well, is the depth at wide receiver. You've had Nabers missing time. You have Jalen Hyatt missing time. You have Daquan Felton, an undrafted free agent, missing time. You've had Darius Slayton miss some time this summer. You've had Bo Collins, another one of the undrafted free agents who's trying to make the roster, miss some time. And what you've wound up with is guys like Little Jordan Humphrey and Montrell Washington playing a lot on the outside with the first team, with Russell Wilson. And that hasn't always gone well. Although Washington made some plays on Saturday against the Bills, Daboll spoke after the game about the plays that Washington didn't make. And again, here on Tuesday, in talking to Nick, the biggest issue was an inability to get the football down the field. You've got no Hyatt. You've got no Neighbors. You've got Slayton probably limited a little bit. I'm not even sure how many snaps he took on Tuesday. You're looking at a bunch of guys like Gunnar Olszewski, Amir Smith-Marset, a handful of undrafted free agents playing the wide receiver position. And it leads me to think that with the number 3 overall spot in the waiver order, in the waiver claim order, once teams make their cuts to the 53-man roster, it would not surprise me at all if wide receiver is a spot that the Giants look to upgrade. The more that we see from some of these guys competing for bottom of the roster spots, and the more we see Jalen Hyatt on the sidelines, with apparently yet another leg injury, after gaining some weight in the offseason, we're not sure yet what Hyatt can give to the offense anyway. He didn't give them anything last year. He was a disappointment as a rookie in 2023. When I look at this Giants passing attack, they need another veteran wide receiver. I don't know if that's Gabe Davis, the free agent who played for Brian Daboll in Buffalo. At this point, I would think Davis would be signed somewhere if he was physically able to practice, able to get cleared to play. So I'm looking at wide receiver and thinking that the Giants will be scouring the market for some help in that spot once teams cut their rosters from 90 to 53 here in a couple of weeks at the end of the preseason. On a better note, Andrew Thomas still on PUP. James Hudson had a couple of penalties, back-to-back plays, cost the Giants 15 yards on their opening drive Saturday against the Bills. I know a lot of people are still concerned about James Hudson, as the swing tackle, as the fill-in guy for Andrew Thomas. And coming out of the Buffalo game and then watching practice on Tuesday, the little bit that I did see on offense, I'm beginning to wonder, maybe not week 1, maybe not initially, but I'm beginning to wonder if 5th-round pick Marcus Bowe eventually takes that swing tackle job. Bowe played really, really well on Saturday against the Bills. He's getting more and more reps at left tackle with the first and second team. Looks like he's handling himself well, showing aggression, showing physicality. Obviously still has a lot to learn, but I wonder if as time goes on, that swing tackle role will become Marcus Bowe's for the 2025 season. And eventually, maybe Bowe is a guy who could become a starting piece of the Giants offensive line full-time in 2026. But really nice to look at a guy that's a 5th-round pick and think that he could be a guy that the Giants could end up counting on. I mean, and I don't want to put the cart ahead of the horse here, but he's looked really good. And as I said, I think it's entirely possible that Marcus Bowe ends up ahead of James Hudson on the depth chart. Maybe not week 1, but eventually. before the 2025 season is over. Let's put it that way. Just a couple of thoughts on defense, which is what I spent most of my time watching on Tuesday. It was really good to see Dexter Lawrence get some snaps, coming back from his dislocated elbow last year. The Giants have really managed his reps, managed his snaps all throughout spring and summer. Dex didn't play Saturday against the Bills. I was expecting to see him, this week in the joint practices, and we did see him on Tuesday. Dex batted down a pass on one play. On another play, he did chase Justin Fields out of the pocket. That's a race that Dex was never going to win, by the way, but it was nice to see Dex, in pursuit of a quarterback, in a relatively what you would consider a live situation. I thought the run defense for the Giants was better. I keep getting asked about the run defense. There were a bunch of tackles for loss, TFLs. Micah McFadden had a couple. Kayvon Thibodeau had one or two. Backup defensive tackle Elijah Chapman had one. There were a lot of really good, impactful plays against the run. And I understand people's concern about the Giants' run defense. It wasn't good last year. It wasn't good the year before. I believe that the talent is there for the Giants to not only be a really good pass rushing team, but to be a really good run defense team as well. That may take time because it's run defense is not just about talent. It's about knowing your assignment, filling your gap properly, doing what you're supposed to do, not trying to do too much, being able to rely on the guys around you. So run defense is a team thing. So we'll see how that develops. But from my viewpoint, the talent is definitely there for the Giants to be a good run defense team. Did want to talk a little bit about cornerback depth, a lot like wide receiver. Cornerback's a spot where the Giants are suffering a number of injuries. Drew Phillips is now missing time. Cordale Flott has missed time. 7th-round pick Corey Black has missed time. Trey Hawkins is still missing time. Art Green has missed time. I'm not even sure. I probably have missed one or two guys who have been missing some time, at the cornerback spot. But this, again, is another spot where I think the Giants could be looking to upgrade when we get to the waiver claim period here at the end of the preseason. All right, Giants fans, Nick Falato and I will both be back out at Quest Diagnostics when the Jets come to the Giants, when the Jets come to East Rutherford on Wednesday for the second of their two joint practices in advance of Saturday's preseason game at MetLife Stadium. So please, watch for our coverage, watch for our updates on YouTube as well, as we try to give you everything that you'll need to stay up to date on your New York Giants. All right, thank you as always for watching. Please stay safe out there. Take care of each other, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.